Fear is a tool. They think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows.
The Batman is the greatest comic book movie ever made. This idea draws a lot of controversy and backlash, and for good reason. There have been so many fantastic superhero adaptations, trilogies,
Pizza time.
TV shows, and series over the past 3 decades that hailing one of them as the best is often just a matter of taste and preference at best. However, the reasons for the Batman surpassing its peers and predecessors are so far beyond just a difference in palettes that I cannot help but elevate the film to its rightful status as not just one of, but the greatest comic book movie of all time. Batman has been done a lot, especially in screen adaptations. Before the Nolan trilogies graced our screens, old-timey TV shows, video games, and numerous different attempts to restart the Batman on the silver screen have been tried and tested for decades, and with moderate, albeit not lasting success, until a man with a plan showed up. That man? Christopher Nolan. You might have heard of him, small-time guy. Anyway, his idea was to do Batman, but instead of silly gadgets and the Bat credit card, he opted to ground Batman with a realistic, gritty crime drama, completely reinventing and rebooting the character of Batman. And with that, Batman Begins was born, eventually turning into some of the most iconic media surrounding the Caped Crusader ever made. And while these movies are iconic for their fantastic performances, especially Bale and Ledger as Batman and the Joker respectively, awesome stories, amazing cinematography, these movies are not the focus of these videos, only the precursor to something even greater, even better. By setting the tone for a realistic, grounded Batman, Nolan inadvertently opened the door to the idea of someone taking the Batman to the next level. Someone with the vision of Batman possessing his detective roots, his modified technology, and a brutal, exacting, violent streak of vengeance for the criminals plaguing Gotham City. That person was Matt Reeves, and that vision, well, The Batman is not only the greatest film because it looks great or makes Gotham a dirty, unwelcoming hellhole desperately in need of a masked vigilante, it's because it's unafraid to take Batman and do something never done before. Make him vulnerable. Throughout this movie, not only is Gotham made out to be the disgusting, crime-riddled dystopia that is described in the comics, but Batman is made to be just that, man. He's constantly getting beat up, bruised, losing, getting outsmarted and outwitted by the Riddler, who always seems to be 2 steps ahead, and suffering personal losses and attacks, even to those closest to him, such as Alfred. The consequences of his life are on full display, as his public persona as Bruce Wayne is not that of the fancy, rich, charismatic playboy, but a reclusive, antisocial billionaire who has sacrificed his relationships within his community, company, and city for his legacy, for the hero Gotham deserves. But it isn't just the widely corrupt Gotham, or the moody, emo Bruce Wayne that elevates the Batman to his esteemed status, no. But something even the Nolan trilogies have garnered complaints and critiques for in the past: the fight choreography. Arguably, the most iconic fight scene in Batman history is when Batman intervenes in the subway as a man is about to be assaulted. Not only does the suspense and tension build as we anxiously await the reveal of the loud footsteps echoing down the corridor, but from the moment of violence, it is obvious that this is going to be a different Batman. It's going to be the Batman. But beyond just combat or suit design, the inclusion of Bruce Wayne and Batman's journal entry voiceovers manages to capture something unique and showcase the growth of Batman as a character throughout the story. His self-awareness and self-doubt make for a real person as opposed to an unstoppable block of martial arts and detective work. And the impacts of his life are on full display as we see Bruce Wayne, through his own words, neglecting his personal life, hygiene, health, diet, and social life, all for the hope of making Gotham a better place.
What I'm doing is my family's legacy.
And while it would be easy to pinpoint all the praise onto the fantastic Batman character, the Reeves world has created the success of the film that must be shared with the equally fantastic and well-developed side characters and antagonists that give the world size and shape, starting with Jim Gordon. While maybe lacking the intensity or size that Gary Oldman once gave the character, Jeffrey Wright gives the character an unwavering loyalty and a daring sense of bravery, cunning, and strength that make him instantly likable. It's probably the most underappreciated aspect of this movie, and more praise deserves to be poured upon it. The genuine trust that Gordon and the Bats build throughout the film makes the relationship stand out all the more, and makes Jeremy Wright a strong contender for being such a great Gordon. However, another side performance that has already been met with rampant critical applause is none other than Colin Farrell's Penguin, and for very, very good reason. Taking a character that has normally been made into a one-note crime boss, Farrell takes the Penguin's 3 or 4 scenes and makes him hands down the most interesting crime boss in the city. An injured, traumatized man, the Penguin not only oozes the charisma of a man forced to compensate for his unappealing physical stature and scars, but also embodies the slimy, deceptive nature required of such a character. And with such a physical and mental transformation done by Colin Farrell, it's no wonder that it inspired one of the most iconic spin-offs of the last decade, drawing comparisons to The Sopranos and winning Colin Farrell an Emmy. Catwoman. Batwoman's typical romantic foil manages to blossom into an equally protective relationship with Batman, as they both grow to care for one another in the most unexpected of circumstances. Combined with a fitting fighting style, a motorcycle, and a strong sense of independence, it would have been easy to get this character wrong simply for the sake of a romantic subplot, but instead leaves the audience wondering where the relationship could have gone if not surrounded by extraneous circumstances. And finally, the Joker. No, I mean the Riddler. Played by Paul Dano. Yes, the most common criticism of this Riddler in this movie is that he does give off more of a Joker than a Riddler vibe, with the grand, elaborate plots to destroy city centers and posting online and hacking the news in order to garner loyal and devout followers to the cause. But in spite of the similarities, this is the best Batman villain since Ledger's Joker. Dano manages to bring an antisocial, highly intelligent, deceptively dangerous energy to the character that I do not think anyone else could have managed. Tack on the interwoven crime plot involving the Maronis and the Falcones, and a dangerous game of cat and mouse to save the city, and you have, arguably, the best setup for a Batman story since The Dark Knight. And to revisit the final nail in the coffin for any competing Batman films has to be the fight choreography. An extremely common slight against the seemingly not-so-perfect Nolan trilogy was the clunky, slow, and unathletic fight scenes that often relied on fast cuts and camera movement to introduce the idea of Batman swiftly knocking his opponents aside. However, Reeves' Batman is not reliant on any of these tricks at all. There are several scenes where the fight, or at least the choreographed violence, is shown in 1 or 2 angles at the most, making the punches seem harder, faster, and more brutal, and captivating our eyes all the same. The sound design on these fights is even better, with punches sounding like thudding hammers, making Batman into the imposing fighting machine he truly is. Plus, that Gordon punch was quite a sight to see. Yet throughout the movie, a notion is heavily implied that Bruce Wayne could leverage his wealth and social status to solve all of Gotham's problems, but instead becomes Batman as a way to cope with his traumas and mental illness. Okay, this is just wrong. First of all, the enemies and crime syndicates that plague the city have equal amounts of money and power. The structure is so firmly set in place that those with money are never prosecuted. Plus, we know that corruption is so rampant since practically everyone is taking bribes. Therefore, any money that is put towards noble, selfless purposes is likely to be embezzled, misused, or extorted, just like what happens in the movie through the Wayne Foundation. Bruce Wayne solving problems of poverty is not guaranteed to solve all the issues of crime, as almost all of Gotham's villains don't act out of a financial incentive, but often have twisted and warped views of reality, and are taking up their grievances with society by causing mass panic and hysteria. The rebuttal that Batman is just Bruce Wayne's trauma response to his parents' untimely passing, or that he could solve all the issues Gotham faces by throwing money at everything, is about as flawed of a counter-argument as there could be. Batman is the only antithesis strong enough to counter the level of crime, corruption, and malice that has grown out of the years of neglect and abuse Gotham has faced. Beyond just the visual and auditory areas of the film, character development is where this film truly shines. As the Batman begins his opening monologue, we learn one of 2 things. He's only been Batman for 2 years, and he's doubtful of his own success. Crime across the board is up. Why is this? And furthermore, why does a twisted, psychopathic person, such as the Riddler, closely identify with him despite standing for completely opposite things? And why does Batman blame himself for the Riddler's rise? One word: fear. As the film starts and Batman brutally beats down petty thugs in the subway, he calls himself Vengeance. And once he saves this man in danger, his response is not hope, but pleading for his own safety. By levying violence and fear as his two tools in combat against the corruption-ridden city, Batman unintentionally signals the wrong message. Violence and fear lead to results. But as we learn, this may cut off the leaves, but it only extends the roots. Instead of addressing the root cause of corruption and attacking the perpetrators, he focuses on the victims of the issues rather than the issues themselves. It is only after learning that the Riddler doesn't just act to impress Batman, but is inspired by him, that he learns he has approached the issues of heroism incorrectly. What he learns is that he can make a change, but it is only by being a symbol of hope, not fear, and a man of forgiveness, not fury, can he truly make an impact that lasts, an impact bigger than himself. He can't just be a symbol. He has to be a symbol for good, for more, and for change, even when it feels like the only thing that can change is you. While people will likely continue to debate for years to come over the tiniest, minute details of every Batman film, I think it's fair to acknowledge the merits of the Nolan trilogy while admitting that another movie has taken the reins. And who knows what lies in wait for The Dark Knight next. It's comforting to know the Caped Crusader is in such good hands, even if it takes 5 years for a sequel. With an ending that not only sets up the sequel properly, but leaves the audience wanting more, it's no wonder everyone is on the edge of their seats for The Batman Part 2. Thanks for watching.